What have I learnt about technologies from the process of constructing my product? I had to learn various different skills when I was creating my project, some of which were more crucial to the development of my project than others. However, I needed to know each and every one to enable me to create a better project. First of all, lighting. Throughout my project, I took an array of different pictures. Although I only took a few inside, this did mean I needed to utilise artificial lighting. When I took the first set of photographs, I found that the colour of the light is crucial along with the angle of it. I did the mistake of using a harsh blue light, however I now know that a softer white light works better. I also found that positioning the light to the side, shining on the face, worked well for my models. Although I did not use pictures that were inside using artificial light, I found that learning how to angle the artificial light made it easier for me to utilise natural light in a natural environment. When I started the Media A-level course, I was not used to manipulating a camera to create the desired effects, so I had to learn to master even the basic skills of the camera to enable my photography to be of high quality. Two of the most basic camera skills which I learned were zoom and focusing. Although I used the zoom very little, I needed it for the variety of my photographs, so that the focus was at the centre of the image and as large as it needed to be. I also learned how to use a focus. By holding down my shutter button, different focus points were shown before I pressed my shutter button all the way down to select the image focus that I thought was fitting of this image. Both these skills enabled me to shape my image so the focal point was always a model as I wanted it to be, and the background was always sufficiently blurred and only the important elements were featured. The stamp tool was another tool that I learned about. It's on Photoshop, so once I had taken a photo, I would put it on Photoshop and then the stamp tool would enable me to edit it. Using the stamp tool, I could remove blemishes on the face or the body of the model, for example, moles, extra hairs in the eyebrows, spots, small scars, and freckles. I could also do this by using the spot removal tool, however this can only be used on very small areas, as whereas the stamp tool, you selected the area from which you'd like to copy onto the new area, and the spot removal tool did it itself, so it would look contorted and irregular if it was done for a large area of space. I also used the stamp tool to remove large objects in the background which were unsightly. For example, there was a yellow bin in one of my photos that I removed using the stamp tool. The lasso tool is another tool in Photoshop where you can select an area. By drawing dots to dots all around the area that you'd like to select, the lasso will capture the area and allow you to just edit that area and add colour or opaquency or darkness or lightness however I would like to. And this is great. I greatly used the lasso tool and I found it very useful for my project. I also learned about the magic wand tool. The magic wand tool was like the lasso tool but selected the area due to colour itself. So it could be used to start a basis of a lasso, and then by pressing Ctrl and Alt, I could add extra areas to that or remove the areas. A gradient is something that I would often add when I did the lasso tool. For example, on a lot of my pictures, the colours in the background were too bright and too different to overlay text onto it. So I used a gradient of another colour to fade it all in so the text could be clearly seen on top of it. I learned how to do this and I found it very useful so that I could use any of my photos, and even if they had very colourful backgrounds, but they were still a very good picture. I also used lightness and darkness editor. This enabled me to change the background of the person, make it lighter or darker, however I'd like. This went hand in hand with the gradient tool, as it also allowed me to make a background easier to write on and easier to see. This is the character tool that I use on InDesign. each of the things on the character tool was useful for me. The text, the size tool enabled me to change the size of any text. I could change the font, I could change the width, the height, the slants, the position compared to the other letters, and the spacing between the letters using this tool. I learned how to use it very early on, and I found it incredibly useful, as it meant that I could make text that was a generic font appear unique and make my magazine overall better. The eyedropper tool enabled me to tie in colours from tying colours from my photos into the writing, as it picked up the colour and then enabled. Blogger was the tool that I had to use to present all my information. Although I found Blogger very hard to use, I managed to learn how to use it correctly so that I could create the finished product that I wanted. It was very hard to use and often would not be online, and things I'd saved would not be there. So to prevent myself from losing work, I used PowerPoint to present all the work, save all the pictures, and create all the text before I put it onto Blogger. This enabled a much better standard of work throughout. Thank you for listening.